Hey guys, MonstersReview here. 20 years ago today, Dexter's Laboratory premiered on Cartoon Network and ultimately became one of the network's most memorable and successful shows. First, let's talk about the humble beginnings of the show's creator, Gendy. Gendy was born on January 17, 1970 in Moscow, and as a result of the anti-Semitism there, Gendy and his family moved to the United States when he was 7. His family eventually settled in Chicago, and upon arrival, he discovered comic books, something he hadn't seen in Mother Russia.
One of my first memories is we went to a 7-Eleven, I think it was, and for the first time in my life, there was a comic book rack. And all of a sudden, I see a Super Friends comic book. And it was like the first comic book I ever bought, and as soon as I opened it and read it, and it was just amazing, and that's what kind of like brought me into that comic book world and drawing from comics, and something about cartooning I fell in love with, and I can't get rid of it.
After his father bought a TV set, he also started watching cartoons and became attached to the animation of Tex Avery and Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Throughout his childhood, Gendy developed a passion for drawing and animation, despite the fact that his family wanted him to become a businessman. Gendy was accepted into Columbia College Chicago and wanted to pursue advertising. However, by the time he signed up, all of the advertising classes were gone, so the only class that was available was animation. While studying animation in the Windy City, Gendy applied to CalArts by sending a shoebox of flipbooks and drawings to them, and he was ultimately accepted. Gendy moved to Los Angeles, and at CalArts he produced 2 student films, one of which was called Changes, which would later become the basis for Dexter's Lab. He came up with the concept after drawing a thin and tall ballerina, so he wanted to counteract that with a small and blocky character. These characters later became Dee Dee and Dexter, and he made them brother and sister as well as foil characters, with Dexter being extremely intelligent and Dee Dee extremely naive and idiotic. Additionally, he met Craig McCracken, Rob Renzetti, and Paul Rudish, who he would eventually work with on Two Stupid Dogs. After 2 years at CalArts, Gendy took a job in Spain where he worked as an animator on shows such as Batman the Animated Series. Meanwhile, Craig McCracken got hired to work at Hanna-Barbera and became the art director for Two Stupid Dogs. McCracken recommended hiring Gendy and Rob Renzetti, and Gendy became an animation director and storyboard artist for that show. In 1994, Gendy got a call that would change his life.
And then I got a call from my producer, my old producer from Two Stupid Dogs, and he said, Gendy, there's a thing starting called Cartoon Network, and they want to make shorts. I remember your student film. Do you want to make a 7-minute thing out of it? And I was like, yes.
Dexter's Laboratory was the second of 48 shorts that were produced for What a Cartoon. It was Mike Lazo's favorite short, and it was deemed the most popular short as a result of votes that were sent in from viewers. Cartoon Network noticed its popularity, and thus Dexter's Lab became the first of many What a Cartoon shorts to become a series. It also became one of the first original series on Cartoon Network, as well as the first cartoon. Dexter's Lab had a really unique format, as each half-hour show was divided into 3 segments, with each one usually being 8 minutes in length. Most of the segments directly involved Dexter and his family, but many of the others were about other characters in Dexter's universe, such as Dial M for Monkey or the Justice Friends. The original run of Dexter's Lab consisted of 2 seasons from April 28, 1996 to June 15, 1998. Its original run was successful despite a few controversial episodes. The Dial M for Monkey short Barbecuer featured a character named the Silver Spooner, who was a parody of the Silver Surfer, but was perceived as a stereotype of gay men by Cartoon Network and many others.
Stop! Go no further! Your efforts are in vain. I am the Silver Spooner, culinary guide for, herald of, and personal valet to, master, his most cosmic colossalness, Barbecuer, eater of worlds!
Another episode called Rude Removal featured alternate versions of Dexter and Dee Dee that swore, although it was censored.
Let up, Ollie! Beats the crap out of me! Why, you're in Dexter's laboratory, silly.
Barbecuer stopped airing after a few years of rotation, and it later resurfaced on the internet. Rude Removal never aired on TV, however, after an overwhelming fan response in 2013, Adult Swim uploaded it to their website. In 1999, Gendy came back to make Dexter's Laboratory Ego Trip, a 46-minute animated film that was intended to serve as the series finale. After Ego Trip, Gendy started to work on his next project, Samurai Jack. However, Cartoon Network didn't care that Gendy was working on Samurai Jack because in 2001, Dexter's Lab was revived for a 13-episode 3rd season. Since Gendy was obviously busy working on Samurai Jack and most of the original crew was gone, Cartoon Network chose Chris Savino to lead direction on the revival and hired a new production team. The second run consisted of an additional 2 seasons from November 16, 2001 to November 20, 2003. The second run was not only different in terms of the people working on it, but the show itself was slightly altered as a result. The art style slightly changed, and the original voice actress of Dexter, Christine Cavanaugh, retired in 2001, so the voice of Dexter was replaced by Candy Milo. The final episode of Dexter's Lab aired on November 20th, 2003, leaving Dexter's Lab with a total of 4 seasons and 78 episodes. Personally, I really liked Dexter's Lab, and it was one of my favorite shows to watch on Cartoon Network. Its humor, animation, and charm really appealed to me and many other kids around the world. The success of Dexter's Lab opened the door to more character-driven shows on Cartoon Network, many of which are now classics, and gave many opportunities to the very talented crew.
I mean, one of the things that people ask me what I'm most proud of, and it's creating Dexter and Samurai, creating these characters. I think especially Dexter, because it was my first one, that he still exists. It's almost been 20 years, and the people still mention it and still watch it on Boomerang or wherever, It makes me feel so great because not a lot of shows, there have been so many animated shows, and very few last the test of time, and Dexter's still out there. People still talk about it. If I do a signing, I draw at least 30, 40 Dexters.
Well, that's it for my review and retrospective of Dexter's Laboratory. I worked really hard to put this video together, so I would really appreciate it if you all gave this a like and shared it around to anyone you think enjoyed Dexter's Lab. Also, make sure you follow me on social media at MonstersReview and check out my Patreon if you already haven't. As always, I'm MonstersReview, thanks for watching, and have a spectacular day.